All right, in this presentation, you're going to learn about the two groups, well, two of the four groups that came out of the Constitutional Convention that were arguing and fighting, and that who really worked together and came together to found our country and to write our Constitution. The first group, two groups that we're going to look at are the Federalists and the Anti-Federalists. So this is a lot of review from what we did before Thanksgiving break about the Articles of Confederation, but why change it? What was wrong with it? We talked in detail about the 8 things that were wrong with the Articles of Confederation, but the first thing, people were afraid of a strong national government. They didn't want their rights taken away. They didn't want anybody messing with what they felt was their rights. The British had done that by taxing them without letting them have any representation and putting all these laws on them and quartering troops in their homes, so they weren't really ready to jump back into that. And the Articles of Confederation government wasn't strong enough. They created it. Remember the videos that we watched? They created this government and it really wasn't strong enough to even support itself. It couldn't enforce all the laws. It ran out of money because it couldn't tax the people, and it had no army that could protect the states in a way that a government should protect its people. So that's why they had to change it. They needed to come up with something that was going to solve those problems, and they had a lot of people arguing yes to a strong national government, no to a strong national government, and then each state was arguing about what things were going to go into the Constitutional Convention, and we're focusing today on the Federalists and the Anti-Federalists. The two groups that began to form were actually pretty different. You had the Federalists and the Anti-Federalists, and the Federalists, they wanted a strong national government. They wanted a government to help them to accomplish their goals. We'll talk about that specifically with the state of Georgia and what goals Georgia needed the federal government to help them with. They wanted a strong national government to help enforce the laws. Those who were in the army and suffered through the Revolutionary War not being supported and not having money and not getting paid as soldiers wanted a government who could enforce laws and pay their soldiers. They also wanted a strong national government to protect them. They saw the benefit of a well-funded military, and they wanted that. The Anti-Federalists, again, it just goes back to them being afraid. They were afraid that the national government would be just like King George III. They wanted their rights protected. So how are we going to fix this? How are these two groups going to come to a compromise where we still have this really strong national government, but our rights are still protected? That's really what these two groups were arguing about. Okay, if you look right here, this chart is actually in your Schoology. It's labeled Feds versus Anti-Feds. I want you to spend a few minutes studying, going over this chart, and then the next thing in your list is you're going to take a short Schoology quiz over this chart. This chart gives you an issue on the left, then it tells you how the Federalists felt about that issue, then it tells you how the Anti-Federalists felt about the issue, and then it gives you some notes on the right-hand side. Go ahead, find that in your Schoology and spend some time studying that, and then go ahead and take your quiz.